NXT, remember, 2 weeks ago, was it? I said NXT was the best television program that I had seen in a while from anybody. Just 2 short weeks ago, wasn't it?
It was either 2 or 3 weeks ago. I forget, but yeah.
Okay. This was I'm trying to get into this. October 7th, NXT, they opened up with a guy who I have raved about, right? Tommaso Champa. I said, fuck, his matches are good. He knows how to work who he is. His work has been great. He's a physical beast. I love the beard, the gimmick, the attitude, the whole night, the promos. Tommaso Champa against Kushida. In the vein of the historic Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Taka Michinoku contest that went 3 segments on Raw in some people's goddamn feverish Welsh rarebit dreams. Did Kushida come in the ring in the same outfit that he was wearing that morning when he was delivering newspapers?
He always wears the Marty McFly outfit. That's his gimmick.
No, he was in a goddamn, remember he was in this colorful, looked like a gladiator skirt with all kinds of colors all over it just a couple of weeks ago when I said he looks like he fucking just came off his job as a house painter. It was all slick and colorful, and now he's wearing jeans and a fucking, I don't know what the fuck.
He dresses like Marty McFly when he first went back in time and he was wearing the vest and everything else.
Well, I don't know why he's doing that, and he should quit immediately. Marty McFly wants his wardrobe back.
Sometimes I watch this show, I wish I can go back to 1955.
And watch Buddy Rogers and Lou Thesz in Chicago.
That's right.
Here's what I saw. For the first 20 minutes of this program, either they give you a 20-minute girls match or they give you a 20-minute match that ought to last 4. I saw a Japanese child taking down, riding, beating up, and making look foolish like a putz Tommaso Champa, one of the biggest single stars or best single stars they've got on the program for the first 2 minutes of the match. And then finally Champa takes over, but if it was a one-sided 5 minutes, okay, or if Champa had a top guy to go 20 minutes, okay. But this was too long, too competitive, and too bleh. And they went through a break, and they came back, and there was more Kushida kicking the shit out of Champa. And then stomped the shit out of Champa, and then double wrist locked him. And then here comes the Velveteen Dream in. Comes off the top rope, and guess who he hit? Champa! By mistake. And then Kushida beats the shit out of Velveteen Dream and ran him off. He scurried and scampered off. He is selling like he's going to the electric chair. Somebody must have told you, your job is on the line unless you just put everything you've got into it. And they left Tommaso Champa in the ring selling his fucking arm, and he's the winner by disqualification because Dream accidentally hit him when he was trying to hit Kushida. So Tommaso Champa, one of their stars, went 20 minutes with a small child, had the shit kicked out of him, was in a submission hold when the other guy came in and accidentally hit him by mistake. And then the child ran the other heel off, and I just wrote 2 words, good God. Good God. Here, hold on. I'm doing this one.
You don't have to rip it now. Kushida's a very talented wrestler. Why do you call him a child?
Because if he was a member of the New Japan wrestling roster, that might be great. He's a nice athlete. But this is in the United States of America. I'm not being racist when I say that a guy that's 5'6", that doesn't weigh 190 pounds, that does no discernible promo in English that we have been allowed to hear that you could halfway understand, and looks like 16 other guys that we see on these programs, is not going to be a star the level of an individual like Tommaso Champa.
He doesn't look like 16 other guys we've seen on these programs. Whatever you want to say about him, he has his own look. And he wasn't that much smaller than Champa. Champa's cut, but he's not a big guy.
He was tall. He looks taller. He works taller and bigger. He works bigger. I'm sorry. Just what the fuck? Just have why? Poor Champa pissed in his mouth while he's down there.
There are people who think you just hate Japanese wrestlers. Not just the women wrestlers now, just any Japanese wrestler.
No, as long as they're full grown, I'll take them. I loved Fujinami. Fujinami was a fucking badass.
How tall was Fujinami? 5'9"?
He looked goddamn halfway, almost as big as fucking the rest of everybody on the roster, instead of standing out as being 6 inches shorter and fucking weighing 180 pounds. For fuck's sake. What, Tojo Yamamoto? I loved him.
Oh, come on. He was 5'2" in wooden shoes.
And hey, you know what? I'm the first one to say Tojo Yamamoto was an icon at the time, but would not work today either. But having said that, no, just push the fucking guy, Champa, the guy that can draw money and cut promos and has a distinct look and can work with your main eventers. Anyway.
Hey, coming out of TakeOver, did you think they were going to continue the Velveteen Dream Kushida program?
I hadn't given it a lot of thought. Actually, I've
last we saw him, he was on the ground crying.
Moments of thought.
He was on the ground crying and screaming. And now he's back, looking for more, and he got his ass kicked again.
That's what I fucking. But hey, this show was booked by Toots Mondt compared to what we're about to get to. But anyway. Ember Moon did a promo. I've never seen Ember Moon before. She's the one that rode in on a motorcycle last week, and she came in there chanting, "She's back," or "Welcome back." And she's back. She said she spent 14 months in isolation. Where was she? Prison? What?
She had an injury. I don't know why she was in isolation.
Okay, the poor choice of words then in her promo. But anyway, she dressed like a discount road warrior and talked like a high school cheerleader until she was interrupted by Io Shirai, who had a face-off.
See, why did you do that?
And Io, it's always Io or Rio or what the fucko. Io went to speak and was interrupted, thank God, by Rhea Ripley, a real woman. The hottest dadgum woman on the planet. And she got 3 words out and was knocked to the fucking ground by Raquel Gonzalez and what's her name? I forgot what her name is. Dakota Kai. And they had a brief fight where all the girls jumped in and William Regal came out and just made a match. He made it so quick between you and just pointed at the two. He couldn't even say all 4 of their names. Raquel Gonzalez and what's he against fucking Io Shirai. And anyway, a tag match later on tonight. Oh, fucking joy.
That promo was really bad by Ember Moon. And one of the things that annoyed me, I know there's a few people around ringside, and then of course there's the video screen monitor behind them with various fans who apparently are in rooms as dark as this building they're in here. But she was talking, like if you watched away like her mannerisms in the ring. She was
talking to the fake fans.
Yeah, she was talking to a giant crowd of fans that wasn't there. Bad promo.
Speaking of which, Drake Maverick was walking into the building and they're asking him about he wants to be Killian Dane's tag team partner. Killian Dane doesn't want to be his partner or his friend. Killian Dane walks up to him and tells him this. It was silliness. It's so not only scripted, but so badly scripted. Nobody would ever say these things to each other. That's the problem I have. Not even the performance, but the fact that this material is caca. Nobody would be this silly. If they were grown adults and they were really doing what they were supposed to be doing, nobody would say these things. Drake Maverick wouldn't really be this fucking stupid and hard-headed and thick. Yeah, I don't want to watch the rest of the show after that. But anyway.
But you did.
But I did. Well, the Undisputed Era did a promo in the back, was very good as usual. And then here came Ever Rise versus Maverick and Dane. Ever Rise are the team that looks like the best friends if they went to the gym, were trained, bought nice gear, and had talent. And Maverick and Dane are the two guys that don't want to be partners. And they fucking played this horrible music that Drake Maverick was all high on and Killian Dane obviously didn't like because nobody would. I wrote, why am I watching this? Because Drake worked the whole thing back and forth, and finally Killian Dane gets mad and tags himself in and beats up both of Everready, which including a head palm shoot-off. The head palm shoot-off is spreading faster than the COVID. And I swear to God, I would make that, depending on the organization I was in, a fine of enough money from hundreds to thousands that would get whoever's attention. Drake Maverick tags himself back in, and Killian Dane didn't like that, so Killian Dane knocked out one of the Everreadies and powerbombed his own partner, Drake Maverick, on top of him. 1, 2, 3, and they played their horrible entrance music again, and Drake Maverick got up dancing, and Killian Dane, for the third time that I've seen, hit him with a right hand and knocked him out. I'm invoking, remember we got the teleportation rule, we got the tooth and nail rule. I'm invoking some kind of rule to be named later that I'm not watching any more of this hokey shit with this. It's fine if you've got an angle where guys don't want to be partners and have to for some reason. But there is no reason that Killian Dane is being forced to participate in this that we've seen, and there's no reason that these people would say these things to each other in any way, shape, or form, if this was in any way legitimate. It's fucking stupid. Your thoughts?
The rule you enacted is one I already have. It's called the Drake Maverick rule. I didn't need to see this match, so I didn't watch this match. I don't enjoy the guy at all. I think whatever they can get out of Killian Dane, they're wasting, having him associated with this bootleg comedy show. But I didn't need to watch this, and it doesn't sound like I missed anything.
You did not. Did you see Mr. and Ms. Sameface taking a walk and walking the dog to shit?
Now, this I want to talk to you about.
Oh, you didn't like the idea that they're walking down the street on television with a camera in front of them and they have no idea it's there.
What is their gimmick? Is it their gimmick? They're the annoying neighbor?
Yeah, apparently.
Like, what is this? Like, this has been now weeks of filming them in their apartment where no one sees the camera, and now they're just going for a gingerly stroll. What is this exactly? By the way, it hasn't made me more interested in either of them.
No.
It's gone the opposite way. I care less about them. What is this? What is the gimmick? What is the purpose of this?
Well, I was going to say if this was on OVW television, it wouldn't have been. But in a similar instance, either somebody they know or one of them is a fucking budding film or videographer, and they decided to just shoot their own shit and turn it in so that the NXT people don't have to fuck with them. And they're just airing it. I don't fucking know. It looks like shit that's self-shot that they just, oh, here, you did a tape? Okay, we'll air it. That's the way it used to be done in the old days, but I don't know.
And to everyone who said before these promos that Johnny Gargano didn't have much personality, you were right. It turns out you were all right. They could try to give him some. These are the worst promos out there. These are so bad.
And they came back home and found a new TV that old Indy Hartwell had sent them. And then, of course, continued later in the program.
So it sounds like they've given developmental wrestlers a contract raise. She's buying TVs for people?
Either that or it is Florida. It could have fallen off the truck. Anyway, here's one of the big problems I had coming up next. Austin Theory, who I've been so high on, 22 years old, looks like a star, can work, can talk, good-looking guy. I think he's going to be a big star against Leon Ruff, who looked, I don't know if they got him from a homeless shelter. He needed a sandwich. This fucking guy did not weigh 140 pounds. And also they joined this match in the ring. I said, Austin Theory didn't get an entrance. No entrance with all the shit on this show so far. No entrance for this guy. Anyway, they give Austin Theory a job guy. But for the first 2 minutes of the match, the job guy flipped and ducked and kicked the shit out of and got several false finishes on Austin Theory. He was green and out of control and doing all that. And then finally, old Ruff got rough and slipped on the ropes and Austin Theory hit him with a fucking finish, and he didn't mean to slip on the fucking ropes. This was the drizzling shits. Why was this? I'm sure Leon Ruff's a nice kid. Besides the fact he needs to gain about 60 pounds, why would they put a kid like this on national TV and let that green and let him do all that shit to show how green he was? You need a job guy. He could have done the same job in the same time and shined Austin Theory.
I found that less problematic than what they did with Austin Theory next.
Well, that's where I was going with this, because at least that way, before they kicked the shit out of him again, he would have looked dominant over somebody. So Austin Theory gets a mic and does the promo in the ring. He kind of halfway saved it with, well, once I got warmed up, he's a heel. Cuts promo on Adam Cole, puts himself over. He's interrupted by Dexter Lumis, who slithered into the ring and stared. I have mentioned I liked Sam Shaw, and I liked Sam Shaw's work. That's who Dexter Lumis used to be. He's gotten this gimmick, and either he is convinced that it's good or they're forcing it on him. Oh, bloody fucking hell. Dexter Lumis comes in. Austin Theory's there selling like he's scared. A referee pops in and calls for the bell, and they just apparently made their own match. And then Lumis goes into the blank face, plodding style, Undertaker light right hand punches with the fucking, kick the shit out of Austin Theory. They went to a break. What the fuck with this show? This wasn't a compelling match to begin with, but now they've gone to break. They come back, and Austin Theory gets some heat on Dexter Lumis, consisting 80% of a chin lock or a face lock, whatever the fuck you might call it. Dexter Lumis fires up with no fire and no excitement. Why is the Psycho Killer a babyface fighting the obnoxious, young, cocky, brash heel? Why? I
don't have an answer.
So Dexter Lewis.
How about Jerry Lewis while we're at
Derek Lewis. I don't know. Martin and Lewis makes the big comeback. No fire, no facials. Austin Theory bumps like a Super Bowl for all of it. And that's what he's trying as hard as he can to do anything anybody asks him, obviously. But this had the pace of pouring pudding. Just drip, drip, drip. And finally, Dexter Lumis hits finish and then chokes him out as the fake fans were at a fever pitch and roaring. And then as soon as he chokes Austin Theory out, I like Cameron Grimes, but he comes in and does that double stomp on Lumis and knocked him out with one fucking move. Austin Theory hit this guy with everything he could fucking muster, and Lumis took him down and choked him out flatter than 4 o'clock, and then Grimes comes in and lays him out with one fucking move. And then went to the moon. Tell me what the fuck's going on here.
It bothered me because in the last several weeks when we've gotten a chance to watch Austin Theory, he's been one of the highlights on the show. You watch him and the way he moves in the ring, his physique, he looks like a serious young professional wrestler. There aren't that many people, that age group, that you say, man, I actually look forward to seeing what this person does in the future. There's MJF, there's Rhea Ripley, you could say maybe Jungle Boy. And this guy, since we've been watching him, and to see him get choked out by Dexter Lumis bothered me because I think right now and in the future, he has so much more upside than Dexter Lumis.
I agree. They're not pushing people. They're using people. They're booking people. You're using the talent. You're booking the talent, but you're not pushing anybody. I don't think they know how to push anybody anymore. Well, they do. Yes, they know how to push something. The O'Reilly and Finn Balor package from the match last week and the fallout. That was fucking fantastic. They gave the match a big fight feel. They had serious comments, showed Finn Balor's broken jaw and how he got it. What a fucking knee lift. I saw him selling his mouth like that. I just said, boy, he's really good. But what a job on this package. A TV show with matches and packages like this would bring viewers back to the wrestling business. I know it's hard to find people that can do the match like that, but this would bring back some of the 9 million people that we've lost in the last 15 years that aren't watching wrestling anymore on Monday nights. Damian Priest did a promo, very good as always, refreshing to hear a man's voice on a wrestling program for once. And then we go. Oh, go ahead.
I don't mean to jump in. First, I just want to say I agree with you. Great package. It feels like that title is jinxed. Everyone who gets it, Karrion Kross immediately out of action. Finn Balor, jaw broken in 2 places. It's a jinxed title. I noticed something with Damian Priest. I mean, tell me if you think I'm wrong. We've seen various promos from different people on this episode. Damian Priest is the one who does promos that are the most similar to promos on Raw in terms of the layout. Not necessarily what he's saying, because he's actually pretty good on the mic, but in terms of being back there with the interviewer, those are the ones that fit in on the main roster more than anyone else. Is there anything to read into that, or is that just what they're doing with him? I mean, it seems like he's the most main roster ready of everyone.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know if they're specifically doing the promos that look like the Raw style promos, or just if that's a good thing for him to do. And they like having, because he's a ladies' man, they like having him play off the blonde girl. What's her name? Mackenzie. And it's a good visual because he's so tall, and then she's shorter because she's a girl. So, I can see him doing but you're right. And I hadn't even thought about it. That does look ready-made for, actually, I shouldn't even say that, ready-made for Raw, because Raw sucks so bad now, but...
You know what I'm saying, though.
It looks ready-made for the big time.
Yeah.
And speaking of not being ready for the big time, I feel so bad for this fucking guy. Ridge Holland against Danny Birch was the next match. And we've seen Ridge Holland over the past couple weeks. He's big, he's thick, he's athletic. We said he's greener than a pepper tree, but he's got a ton of potential. And they've been using him here recently. And this match wasn't bad because Birch you can tell he's got more experience, and he's also got a level he's going to hit. He's a kind of a short, not a particularly impressive physique, bald-headed guy, but he can work. He would have been a good upper mid-card guy in the territories. He would have always been employed because you can plug him into shit, and he's a journeyman, right? And so this was to shine Ridge Holland. It was short and a convincing win, like it should have been, because Ridge is green. And don't have him do too much complicated shit. Just have him look impressive. Then Ridge Holland starts getting more heat on Danny Birch, and that's when Oney Lorcan comes out. And I don't know what they had planned for going forward next week or where they were going with this. But Ridge Holland gets on Lorcan and gets some green heat on him. Then the referees come in. Remember, it just depends. One week the referees will come in on a hangnail, and the other week they won't come in on a goddamn armed kidnapping. The fake boos got turned up. Lorcan got up after getting shit kicked out of him as the referees were getting Ridge Holland out of there, and did a dive over the top rope on Ridge. Okay, boom, and had a slap fight with him. Did you see that when Ridge Holland takes the dive but then throws Lorcan back in the ring, and he gets back in, and Lorcan is slap fighting him? Because can nobody throw a punch anymore? All these forearms and slaps. So Ridge Holland stops him again and leaves the ring again, and Lorcan goes for another dive. Meanwhile, poor old Danny Birch had just been laying there for a while. Lorcan goes for another dive, and Holland catches him, and his fucking ankle just snaps. And he drops, and he starts screaming. And they never even shot him on camera again until they went to the break. Everybody thinks that I think that the dives are stupid just because of the guy diving over the top rope and going to go head first or going to land or going to kill himself or whatever. But dives are stupid for both parties. It was the WWF pay-per-view in Louisville. I think it was probably in 96, I believe. But it was Brian Christopher versus Scott Putzke. They were going to push. Obviously, Brian Christopher was Lawler's son. Scott Putzke was Ivan Putzke's son. He had just come in. They were going to push him. In some respect, not huge. And Brian Christopher does the tope where he just vaults over the top and they catch the guy? Is that a tope or whatever the fuck it? Point is, he jumps over the top rope, crossbody Scott Putzke, who catches him and tore his fucking quad muscle right off the bone. And down he dropped right there, and that was it. And that was it for him and the company. It's almost more dangerous because everybody's worried about catching the idiot that's fucking diving off the roof so he won't kill himself. But think about this. You're standing down there, especially when a guy's catching a guy all by himself. In a group of people, it may even be more dangerous because you can't predict whose arms and legs and elbows and knees and fists and everything are going to go somewhere. But you've got a guy coming at a high rate of speed, either off the top rope or over the top with a flip or fucking whatever, a double twist with a pike, coming down from 10 or 12 or 15 feet on you, and you're going to catch them. Where's their elbow going? Where's their knees going? That weight multiplied with the force of gravity, do the fucking math. I'm not that smart in my head. It's a lot of fucking danger for the guy catching to be doing these spots in every fucking match multiple times that don't even register anymore, that nobody remembers, that doesn't make a fuck, except that the boys go in the back and fucking jack each other off. Hey, did you see my dive? That's the only reason it has to be. Because the guys that I was in the locker room with 30 years ago would be scoff laughing at these fucking idiots for taking chances on TV matches against fucking job guys. Catching is dangerous too. But apparently nobody teaches them that in wrestling school these days. Do you want to send your thoughts and prayers out to poor old Ridge Holland, who's probably fucked now for fucking months to come?
I felt bad because it's awkward when you hear someone scream the way he was screaming.
Oh, because I'll tell you what, that was fucking bad. Right off. Stacy did that.
Are you sure it was his ankle? I thought it was his knee when I was watching it. I
thought it was his fucking ankle because his fucking foot was turned a way that it shouldn't have been turned. If he was laying, he took his right leg and hooked it up under his left leg, like that I've done when I've hurt my knee and tried to fucking, take some pressure off of it. But it looked like his foot was turned at a weird angle. I don't know. Maybe you can look that up.
Yeah, no, I just looked it up. It was his ankle.
All right, well, thank you. There you go. Not a bad eye on Cornette after all these years.
We always criticize, and fans of modern wrestling sometimes don't like that we do that. There are too many dives. Everyone does dives. They do them in the opening match. They do it in the main event. And here's an example where, did it need a dive? Does anyone give a shit about what was happening there?
The second one?
Just what was the point of it? What was the point of it? A dive should mean something.
They were trying to put Holland over as a big badass. We know that because just as soon as the announcers had said, "Can anything stop Ridge Holland?" he's down on the ground screaming and people are calling an ambulance. So apparently something can. Maybe he was going to catch the guy and fucking power him and do something else, but it was too much. Too much. That's all I'm saying.
I guess my point is, so many guys are getting hurt. I watch Mid-South Wrestling with Mike Mills on the podcast, like we talked about earlier. That's a pretty physical style of wrestling.
It was. And every night of the week in the houses, too. And you couldn't fucking slack off because Grizzly would fucking let you know about it.
And there isn't just a rash of guys going down for weeks or months at a time with injuries.
No.
Jim Crockett Promotions. And those were harder rings, too.
Yes.
All these places. And now it's just every episode of every show, NXT and AEW, someone gets hurt.
I was about to say a minute ago, this ankle thing, Stacy in her wrestling days, 20 2 or 3 years ago in a fucking bar in California somewhere on an outlaw show. Did as simple as a thing as a double sledge off the apron of the ring on this, whoever the fuck she was going to hit, right? But landed where people had spilled drinks and snapped her fucking ankle. One way, sideways. And broke it. And then, because she was green and didn't know what to fucking do, and the match was still going on because she was just the manager, she stood there while the rest of the match went on until finally she was supposed to come in the finish and hit a guy with a chair. And she slides in and limps, and when she put the weight on the bad ankle to fucking swing the chair forward, it broke the other way. And she had to have surgery and pins that she still has, pins and screws she still got in there, put in the ankle. And she was a girl that weighed about half as much as Ridge Holland and didn't have fucking hundreds of pounds coming down on her. So I don't know how bad this guy may be fucked up. But why? And then on the other side of the break, they replayed the ankle breaking, which once again, I didn't mind them replaying my fucking, ACL tear off the scaffold every day for years and years. Because if you're going to get hurt, at least get it on tape. But they spent the whole previous segment making this guy out to be an unstoppable monster and what a fucking heel and a prick. And then they show him going out on a stretcher giving the fucking thumbs up. Don't show this. Don't show this. Now you've let that poor guy come back and say, folks, I don't know what's going on, but that Ridge Holland, he was screaming in pain, but he got back up and shoved the referees off and limped out of here. And next week, you show the fucking x-ray. You announce the break. This guy left under his own power with a broken ankle. This guy's insane. We don't know how long he'll be out. He may come back sooner than we think because what a beast. Don't goddamn carry him off the field to the fucking thumbs up round of applause for Joe Theismann. Fucking hell.
I hate when the commentators all of a sudden get the hush tone.
Oh, yes. That's especially shootish. That's when you know it's really a shoot.
Gordon Soley never did that.
Well, Gordon Soley was hushed and deep at the same time. And the knee across the prefrontal lobe. He wasn't yelling, but he had that Gordon Soley voice. But they just sound like they're fucking, calling ladies golf. I don't know. Anyway, poor Ridge Holland, don't dive. Just don't do dives.
Until it means something.
Okay.
If it means something, do a dive. But just as a throw-in.
Well, let's not bog down here because this is going to be a recurring theme with the fucking dives. But anyway, meanwhile, we're going to pick up some time. Next match, Shotzi Blackheart versus Zia Lee. I used the tank rule, the helmet rule, and the barking like a dog rule. What rule did you use?
The Shotzi rule.
Okay. Same thing.
Yeah.
Boom. Next match. 2 girls matches in a row. So they're not special anymore. And Rhea Ripley and Ember Moon against Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez. And I've got to be perfectly honest, I fast-forwarded through to whenever Rhea Ripley got in, which she finally got in, did 2 things, and got knocked out to the fucking floor with a kick from Raquel Gonzalez, and they went to the break. So now I've got to watch most of this because Rhea Ripley's in there. Because they're getting heat on her. Now, when they came back, I loved the backbreaker hold that Gonzalez got on Rhea Ripley, and she's the only one big enough to have done that. That looked great. That was a cool fucking backbreaker hold. Which is all the more reason, I think, why this confrontation should have been milked for pay-per-view or a big event. Because the only girl that's bigger than Rhea Ripley is Raquel Gonzalez. They could have stolen a big show match out of this instead of just putting it on television. But anyway, they got the heat on Ripley. She made a tag to Ember Moon, who made a comeback. And then they stopped her for a minute so she could go back and cold tag Rhea. And then Rhea hit her finish on Dakota Kai, got a 2 count. Then Dakota Kai hit Rhea Ripley with some kind of weird finish they called the chiropractor, which looked good, but she only got a 2 count. And why did she do that finish after Rhea had hit hers on? Then Rhea Ripley tags Ember Moon back in to get another 2 count. God damn it, when the babyface makes the hot tag, unless you're Bockwinkel and Stevens and the goddamn Steamboat and Youngblood, don't start tagging people back and forth in after the comeback. Rhea Ripley takes great bumps. Ember Moon hit Dakota Kai with a pop-up powerbomb and almost killed her. Did you see that?
Yep.
She popped up. But she didn't bomb down. She popped her so far up that when she caught her, her weight was going Ember Moon's weight was going too far back with Dakota Kai on top of her, and she put her down to the side of it. And the referee had to ask, "Are you all right? Are you living?" And then Rhea Ripley and Raquel Gonzalez got tied up and fell over the announce desk and just were out of the picture. And Ember Moon hit a flying Stone Cold Stunner off the top onto Dakota Kai, who's a trusting soul, and if I'd have been powerbombed like I'd have just been powerbombed, there's no way in hell I'd have been standing there for that Stone Cold Stunner off the top rope. 1, 2, 3. Good God. Your comments.
I mean, it was all right for what it was, I guess. Really high on Rhea Ripley, really high on Dakota Kai, but
I'm high on Rhea Ripley. You're high if you're high on Dakota Kai.
She's great. She's good.
I'm high. I can't come down ever since Dakota came around.
I think Dakota Kai is the best woman's heel in NXT by far. She does good promos and she's good in the ring. And that's all I'm going to say.
That's all I got to say about that. Well, they're NXT. They're just rolling over the past couple of weeks. I said a couple weeks ago they were smart. They weren't hot-shotting like AEW does, and they were building for the future and giving people some wins and etc. But they've just get the talent put together in the right combinations. That's the hardest part of booking. Is not coming up with angles or finishes or whatever. It's putting the right talent together with each other. And this stuff's all over the page. But as lackluster as NXT, with the best thing on the whole show was a package of Kyle O'Reilly and Finn Balor. And it was pretty much downhill from there. But as bad as that was, at least it didn't cross into unprofessionalism. Except maybe for poor old Leon Ruff needing an extra 40 pounds.